We are now live, and again, this is Frederick Jones, everyone, and I am the founder and creator of My Footprint. And we are joined today by one of our really star creators, Andrea Voros of Hungary. She's one of our first female creators. In fact, she is our first female creator. She debuted, I believe, it was issue 4 of Saturday AM, and this is a perfect time to do the Q&A because we are now at issue 13 of our digital manga magazine, and Andrea once again has done the cover, a really fun cover featuring the characters from her hit series SAIGAMI, which serializes within the issues within the regular publication of Saturday AM. So we are very excited to have Andrea here. We hope to receive many of your questions and for Andrea here throughout the hour, but we are running a little bit late today, so we want to apologize for that. But first and foremost, let's just go ahead and say thank you and welcome to Miss Andrea Voros. How are you doing today, Andrea?
Hello there, everyone.
Great. Well, so Andrea, like I said, I know we're going to start a little bit later today, but for you, it's late. Like, you know, what time is it for you in Hungary?
It will be midnight right away.
So it's about midnight?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we do very much appreciate you making time for it. Obviously, you know, I've gotten to know you over the last couple of months, and I know, you know, like I said, I think I was really excited to do the Q&A because there are so many questions that I think exist for people who want to check out Saigami, and you know, and again, also for the fact of being a female manga creator. I think there's a lot of questions that people have, particularly some of our fans who want to be manga creators. So again, I feel really honored that we're able to chat with you. So, you know, obviously this is a little bit earlier than we normally do the Q&As, and so before we get right into it, I'll just say that obviously, you know, I've got a series of questions for you, and I'm expecting that we have, you know, we'll certainly have some viewers who tune in, but this is a lot earlier than we normally do the Saturday Q&A. This particular series that we do runs every Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we're doing it at you know, about 4 hours earlier, about 3 hours earlier, that is, because you know, again, it's so late for you. You've got about a 6-hour time difference ahead of us here in America. So just, you know, again, want to let everyone know that normally these are scheduled at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The great thing about the fact that we do these Google Hangouts with our creators is that these are available on demand, so you can check them out on our YouTube channel. Just simply Google Saturday AM YouTube channel, and you will be directed directly to us. And if you don't know exactly who Saturday AM is or what we're about, we are one of the publishing entities or lines affiliated with the company MyFootprint.com. The overall idea is to try to create a brand new dialogue of vehicles for amateur creators around the world who can have a chance to take their creations out to the public in a more professional way than some of the other websites and things exist. And so today we've been very honored because we have 3 lines. We have a ebook line called Well Read, and that is doing very well for us. We have a steampunk sci-fi adventure within it called Skypunk, which you can get for 99 cents. We also have webcomics, exclusive webcomics that we feature. It runs Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays every week at 1 p.m. They update, and that line is called Afternoon WebX. So you can find some really hot exclusive titles like Storybook and Wanted Dead or Dead, Shapeshifters, and a couple more. But of course, this is called Saturday Q&A, and our biggest line is called Saturday AM. It is a digital manga publication. It comes out every 2 weeks. It features some of the hottest and most successful webcomic and digital comic creators, amateur creators around the world. Our guest tonight is from Hungary, and we have, of course, Apple Black in Saturday AM, which is from White Manga out of Nigeria. Wally Wynn's Comatose. Wally, of course, is from Vietnam. And we have Beverly Toole and many other creators who are from America. And so we have more creators coming. And but we've been very ecstatic about the response you all have given us, and so that's why we're doing these Saturday Q&As. So with all that being said, let's jump right in. Of course, again, if you're viewing this live, you can post a comment in our Q&A section. If you have your if you have the Google Hangouts app installed, you can access the Q&A app, and you can post questions there for Andrea. Likewise, you can, of course, enter information into the chat. So let's just jump right into it. Andrea, your series, Saigami, is is one of our most popular series in Saturday AM, and that's saying something because, again, we have some really hot creators associated with it. How long have you been doing Saigami? Because obviously we approached you after you had already started Saigami. So why don't you tell everybody how long ago you started Saigami and what inspired you to create this particular story?
But originally, I started Saigami in 2005,
Mm,
so almost 9 years ago.
mm,
And I restarted the whole manga in 2013. So I
okay.
started it again because the old art and story wasn't good enough. So I started it last year from scratch again.
And so what inspired you to create Saigami? When you look at it, it is a fantasy. It's got dragons. It's got this precocious young girl. I mean, a lot of it looks like your kind of prototypical manga, but then it's also got a lot of unique elements that seem to have European influences, if you will. What inspired you with Saigami? How did you come up with the story, for example? I know obviously you started it and then decided to readdress it a couple of years later, but what inspired you to actually come up with the entire world and concept for Sakagami?
When I first started it, I just wanted to kill some time. So basically, I created a world and characters where I would like to be and to be with people there. So I just put everything in that I like, from dragons till magic. And later, when I started to do it seriously,
Mm-hmm.
I started to change the word so it can be more logical and more complex.
Okay, okay. And so is this the manga series that inspired you back then? Like I see when I look at the series, and what I personally like about it is that it's not shonen exactly. There's some shojo elements to it, and so particularly for a digital or web comic from an amateur creator, it seems incredibly original because of that, right? It's like a lot of digital comic books from creators nowadays. They kind of rip off Dragon Ball, they rip off Naruto, but you immediately were like, no, I want to have a bit of shojo and a bit of shonen. So, like, what series? I mean, did Inuyasha, was that one of the series that inspired you, or what were some of the series that at the time and then over time you've looked at kind of as something that excited you?
Well, I can maybe pick up two manga that inspired me the most.
Okay.
Um, One of them is Naruto because I started to draw manga inspired by Naruto. I really liked it, so that's one for sure. And the other one, it would be Ayashi no Ceres. Um,
Mm.
it's a shoujo manga, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm not really into shoujo manga because most of the time I read shonen, but
Mm-hmm.
that was a title that really hooked me on, so it inspired me a lot for sure.
So that's interesting. So all the things I said, then you turn around and say that Naruto inspired you. Yes, after saying that everyone does Naruto ripoffs, you're like, well, look, I like Naruto. So you had an inspiration from both shojo and shonen.
Yes, because I always thought that
Did
even
you,
if
you hear me?
yes,
Yeah.
because this title Naruto is for boys and shoujo is for girls. But even though I'm a girl, I always like titles which are meant for boys. So I always try to go for a title that can be both enjoyable for boys and girls equally.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, and when we see it, I mean, certainly I think with the readership that we have, we've done some bit of data, or data research in terms of our fan base, and we do seem to have a pretty strong connection of young women who are fans of what we're doing, and I have to believe a lot of that is Saigami, but also at the same time, obviously, we do have slightly more males, and I'm sure that they're reading Saigami as well. So for people who, for the boys and girls who are going to watch this podcast, please, tell us, just take a minute and explain the plot of Saigami.
Um, Saigami's main character is a girl named Ayumi
Mm,
from our world, and through an accident, she lands in a foreign world and brand new world. In this world, she encounters many magical things like dragons and people who can control astral powers, elements, and stuff like this. And because she wants to get home, she joins in the journey of two young boys
mm,
uh, who are setting on a journey to travel around the world and to become Saigamis. Saigami are people who can control the astral plane around them, and this grants them various powers.
mm. And so, would you say, there are elements when I look at Saigami in terms of, or I guess one of the questions I would ask is how, like, if you were explaining Saigami to somebody, would you say it's kind of like a little bit of Legend of Korra meets who meets Inuyasha?
Yeah, that sounds correct.
I mean, because I think about the Inuyasha thing, and I think about the girl in Inuyasha, and unfortunately, I'm an old man, so I forget her name. But I remember, what was so great
That's
about Inuyasha.
Kagome.
What's that?
Kagome was the girl name.
Kagome, that's right, yeah.
Yes.
And I just remember what's so great about Inuyasha, and I think you're doing the same thing again in your own way. But what's so great about it is that it is a story about Kagami and how she ends up in this in like I think it's the past, and then the stuff she has to go through doing that. But then of course in the process of that, for men, initially they may think they're watching Inuyasha, but it actually ends up being, that they're watching Kagami's story as well. And so I think that's what's so powerful about what you're doing. So, with what you're doing with Saigami, we know that if
Hello?
people, yes,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes, now I can hear you again.
Oh, okay, sorry. So, as you know, Andrea, we're not the most sophisticated technology company in the world. So,
Yeah.
so with the stuff that you're doing in Saigami, now many of our readers who've been following you and following the series knows that Ayumi is a Saigami, or is destined to become a Saigami. Uh, can you walk us through a little bit about what they can expect about how that whole process comes about? Is there going to be like a test or a trial or anything she has to go through?
Yes. Because if our main characters want to become a real Saigami,
Hmm.
then they have to take an initiation exam, which means a trial they need to pass, both physically and mentally.
So I'm getting all sorts of like fun ideas about other manga where they've had like the big like trial or tournament type things. So is it going to be kind of like the tuning exams, or is it going to be kind of like the even One Piece has this whole thing with Dressrosa happening right now? They got this big contest. Is it going to be like that? Are we going to meet other Saigamis that are future?
No, not exactly tournament like.
Can you hear
Um,
me?
yes, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Mm, okay.
Okay.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. I think it's
So,
a small bit of a delay. That's all.
okay. So not exactly tournament like, because there won't be other teams they need to compete with. So I wouldn't say that tuning exam or the tournament in One Piece is a great example. It will be more based on individual trials they need to pass.
Okay, so it's not going to be like the in-your-face sort of thing, but there's going to be some pretty exciting stuff going down with how she has to go through that process.
Yes.
Okay, great. And so then, and I'm sure we're going to meet some more Saigamis in the future.
Thank you.
So okay, so well, let's see here. Now we've got a few people in here and stuff. So let's see if we've got some questions entering in yet. Again, everyone will take a quick break here and just state that again, you are viewing the Saturday Q&A. This is our normal video podcast, very similar to a Reddit-style AMA where you can ask the creators of our manga anything you want to ask them. You can do so via, we're doing this as a Google Hangouts, of course, you can do it via group chat, or you can do it within the Q&A app that is part of the Hangouts overall experience. And our creators have been really, really kind to give time and be able to sit down and answer any questions that the fans have. And of course, I ask a series of questions to help better introduce them to the larger internet and the larger fan base. So please feel free to chime in with some questions. Andrea, of course, is our guest tonight. This podcast, this video cast is a little earlier. Normally, we do these every Saturday at 9 p.m. But this time we are doing it a little bit earlier because Andrea, as many of our creators are with Saturday AM, is not American. She's Hungarian, and so she is about 6 hours ahead of us in her native country. And so she's been very kind to give us this time. And but this is not the normal time we do it. So of course, I'm sure many of you guys will find out over time about our podcast. We've got some great upcoming guests that we'll be doing, including Raymond Brown, who is the creator of our series Bullet Eater, and Vertical Fish, who is the pseudonym of a creator who's going to be one of our newest creators. His work called TTX will be starting very, very shortly. So we do very much hope that you'll continue to check us out every Saturday at 9 p.m. And next week, actually, we'll have Joey Ellis, who is the creator of Leap Numbers, which is a new digital comic book, webcomic, and overall actual physical comic that he's doing via Kickstarter. Very, very talented guy. We actually had an interview with him in our 12th issue, so please check it out and check him out as well. So let's get back to Andrea and follow up with some more questions here. So Andrea, now obviously, you know, the landscape for a creator has changed dramatically now that we've got the internet. You, of course, being Hungarian, can put together an interesting story with original characters, and you can distribute it around the world very quickly. Walk us through, like what is your overall plan for your career? Is this something that you hope you can make a full-time career? Do you currently, is it a full-time career for you currently? And where do you see yourself in 5 years? Can we hope to see Saigami as a animated TV show, or do you want to see it as a video game? Like, what sort of things have influenced you to work on Saigami, and what sort of goals do you have for Saigami?
Of course, I'd like to make it big. Um, so, yeah, an anime or video game, that would be awesome. So, I really hope in 5 years we can reach that goal. Um, Basically, I always wanted to create something that will last, that I can leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to reach out to many people as possible, and for that I started to create webcomics and Saigami as well. So as many possibilities as I can, I would like to try.
So, are there other webcomics that you have actively going, or other works that you've done? I know we've featured one of your stories on our website, on our Active WebX portion, called Dreamweaver.
Dreamwalker. Yes.
Yeah. Do you have other comics that you've done?
Yes. In Hungary, I had two one-shots published. One of them was Prince, the Boy Who Never Lived. It
Mm-hmm.
was a short story which was published in 2009,
Mm-hmm.
and there was another story called Cosplay Boy. It was featured in a Hungarian magazine. It was also a short story with 19 pages. But right now I don't have other projects besides Saigami. But in the future, I would like to make more manga, and looks like I will have another book published in Hungary, which I will illustrate for a writer. But of course, in the long term future, I would like to make other long stories like Saigami.
That's fantastic. And so, well, certainly when you get ready to have that book that you're doing for the writer in Hungary come out, certainly let us know. We'd love to let all of our fans know and all of your fans via Saturday AM know about it.
Thank
I'm sure it'll be in Hungarian, but still,
you.
want to let them know. Okay, so to walk us through your process for creating Saigami. First of all, do you work with mechanical pencils, Bristol board, or are you a fully digital creator? Are you working off like a Wacom tablet, for example?
I work most of the time traditionally.
Okay.
First of all, I do my storyboards and sketches with pencil in a regular sketchbook.
Hmm.
Then I work on A4 sized paper with pencil,
Hmm.
and then I ink my pages traditionally with
Hmm.
ink and G pens. And sometimes I use fine liners for smaller details and backgrounds. And then when I inked everything on the page, I scan it in, and then I work on the pages digitally. Um, I use a drawing tablet, but not a Wacom. It's a Genius. It's a
Okay.
cheaper type.
Much like our equipment to do this podcast, right? Understood.
um, I finish my pages in Photoshop.
Hmm.
I screened on them and add some effects if it's needed, but I like to do my visual effects by hand as well with
Mm.
ink
Now that
and
is
everything
interesting.
I can.
Yeah, that is interesting because a lot of creators who are working digitally now. So I mean, just to recap what you said there. I mean, so you're doing a couple things really interesting that I hope some of our fans who want to be creators hear. Number one is you're doing full breakdowns first. Like you storyboard out the entire action that's going to be set up for you for the latest chapter of Saigami, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I do plan out everything. For example, when I have a complicated background, then I draw several shots for the background, and I plan everything out, that in which panel, which scene, what kind of background will be, and everything. So I try to plan everything ahead.
Mm. And so then once you do all that, and then you're saying that after you go through that entire process and get everything set up, you then turn around and you produce the digital effects as well. I mean, not the digital effects. I'm sorry, but the special effects, the sound effects. You do those still by hand. Like you don't even like do that because I mean, most creatives that I'm familiar with do handle that digitally. I mean, that's like one of those kind of like enhancement things. They just kind of do it digitally. But you're just jumping fully in and doing it by hand as well.
Yes, because I always feel like it grants me more freedom. I tried Manga Studio many times
Mm-hmm.
out, which has basically every special effect that can be used for manga, but
Yeah.
I wasn't confident with that. I don't really like it. I felt like it restricted my imagination. So I started to learn everything by hand, and I'm doing it. And sometimes I use tools that are not even for drawing. For example, sometimes I add makeup to my pages or everything I can do to make an interesting effect.
Yeah, it's funny because I've talked to obviously in this Q&A show that we do, I've talked to everyone from White Manga to Mikhail Dingle and Wally, and it seems like everyone's got different favorites. I mean, some people have knockoffs, some people enjoy Photoshop. Most people are proficient in Photoshop, and then there are a handful of people occasionally that we chat with, not per se in the Q&A, but just in general, who like Manga Studio. So it is an interesting mix. I guess it comes down to preferences and so forth. But so okay, so you know you've got a very straightforward process in terms of how you work. I must say, mostly traditional, which being older, I just love to hear that. But with that being said, though, now that you work that way, and obviously, so anyone sees the cover that you did, now that was painted digitally, correct, or colored digitally?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
For coloring, most of the time I use digital because it's cheaper, obviously.
Hmm.
Sometimes I use watercolor, but I'm not
Hmm.
that good with that, so I prefer color digitally.
I
And
see.
for the cover, I use the Paint Tool SAI, and Photoshop. Sometimes I switch it to the program, so most of it was done with Paint to SI.
Interesting. Okay, because I've seen a few of your images, your earlier images that you sent to us when we were discussing you coming aboard Saturday AM, and I thought, I mean, they did, yeah, they looked just like either watercolor or Copic markers. They had that very kind of soft color tone to them. But then I've seen your digital work, like the Sasuke versus Pikachu image, which we will be having that after this podcast. Everyone, look for our store, one of our stores. I'll put the information here on the side, but you can find a really amazing uh, image that print that we'll have from Andrea that features Sasuke versus is unbelievable. It's really, really, really unbelievable. And so, yeah, definitely we hope you'll check that out. But yeah, was definitely digital.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's because I remember the water, the lightning effects, everything just was really beautiful how you pull all it together.
Thank
Um, okay, so let's turn a bit and talk about, or just let's stay in that theme. But let's just kind of shift gears because I know obviously a lot of what we talk about is art when we talk to a lot of our creators because you guys are multifaceted. But I do want to take for a second because I think that one of your stories, your story, I mean, is one of the more interesting aspects of Saigami. Like I feel like I mean, all of our creators are amateurs, and I do feel like with you, the story is pretty straightforward, and I think you present, and so that's what I like is that you present it very well. You know, writing is not easy, and being an artist who wants to write is also not easy. In fact, it's a little more difficult because sometimes your brain works so visually that it's hard to kind of do the mechanical aspects of writing correct, where you can actually just tell the story. You know, have the right dialogue, have the right tone and atmosphere and plot. Saigami, I think you write very, very well. What is your process? You obviously do breakdowns for the comic, you know, storyboards before you ever actually draw it, which is a very, again, old school process. How do you handle the writing side as well? Do you do the same thing? Do you kind of do you have it plotted out for years? Do you kind of have a general idea and then you go back and kind of refocus per issue? Like, how do you do that?
Most of the story I have planned out already. I've been working on this project for 9 years, so I had time for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know where it is heading and how will it end. Um, so basically, um, I have everything um, planned out. But sometimes I start to rework things when I feel that something is off or could be better. And for that, I always ask for opinions of my friends who can help me with the story as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I can make it sure that everything is clear and not just for me, because sometimes it is hard to write a story. So it's good to have opinions from people who don't know what will happen
Right.
ahead. So I think that's a good way for if someone wants to write.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when I add in new things, I change future plans as well because I can change around a lot. But the basics are set, so I try to stick with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, so you got, like you said, you got the story plotted out for quite a while, and so the main thing you do is basically just kind of, you know, you might massage a plot line here or there, depending on just kind of, I guess, just kind of natural intuition as to how the story's flowing and stuff like that.
Yes.
And so, like when you go into an issue, for example, of Saturday AM, like you know, again, for people who are watching this and don't know the way we operate, we do issue like every 5 issues we take a break. You know, for you guys and for us as a company, and just in general, right? You know, if you watch TV, you know, you might get so many episodes of your favorite TV show, and then it might miss a week or miss a couple of weeks. You know, like in America, we have sweeps weeks and things like that. Or just the season break. You know, it finishes the season, and then it comes back the next year, you know, to start a new season. So, you know, so we operate very similarly with Saturday AM. So when you know that you're going to have that break, does that sometimes influence the story that you're telling? Because you may obviously you have a big idea in mind, but you know obviously the way that we operate, you know, in terms of how many pages you know you do and and the timing of when things come out. does that influence a bit of how you write each additional chapter?
Yes, I always try to concentrate on the next part, the next couple of pages that will come out in the next issue of Saturday AM.
Mm-hmm.
But I also work on the upcoming issues as well. But mostly I concentrate on that part to make it as perfect as possible.
That's great. Okay, well, that's good. Well, like I said, I know that many of our fans love it. I know it traditionally places very high in our web traffic and some other data points that we look at. So we know that you've got a really strong fan base. And again, guys, we'll be having some of Andrea's prints available in our Gumroad store, and that usually proceeds after the podcast. We'll also have some of Wally Wynn's prints up, which we were supposed to have last week. We had a bit of a glitch there, but we'll have both her prints and those prints, as well as prints from White Manga, Mikhail Dingle, for really low prices. If you go on our Facebook fan page, you can see where we've got some stuff in from some of one of the fans who bought White's print, put it up on the wall. We took some pictures of it, and it looks great. And that is, of course, what we're trying to do with Saturday AM. So just again to kind of recap for those of you guys who are new or don't know who we are, this is Frederick Jones. I'm the founder of MyFootprint.com and the publisher of Saturday AM, a digital manga publication, kind of like Weekly Shonen Jump or Weekly Shonen Sunday. We come out every 2 weeks, and we feature some of the hottest webcomic and digital art creators in the world. Andrea, our guest tonight, is the creator of our series SAIGAMI. It's one of our most popular series. And Andrea is actually from Hungary. So Andrea, as I found with many of our creators who are not American or English speaking, I'm always amazed at how well they speak in English and how well they can understand my crazy bit of English. So it's always a pleasure to see the world through them. Obviously, we are a company. We're focused on trying to not just create original properties from our creators who own their own properties, I might add, but we are focused on trying to bring a really professional element to what we do, so that unlike a lot of other companies or websites that have webcomics, we want you to view us as having the standard, featuring properties and franchises that are really good, that can be anime, that can be action figures and video games, and we're going to work very hard to make that a reality for many of our properties. So we hope you guys who support us for so long will continue to support us, and you can do that by buying a subscription to Saturday AM. It's the best deal in comics. I had someone the other day trying to figure out exactly how our business works, and it's like, we're not trying to get rich. We're just trying to make sure that we expand the capabilities of our creators and the awareness of our creators across the entire world. And if we do that the right way, then money will follow. That's how I've always felt. You get 20 issues. Our latest issue just came out today, featuring a cover by our guest tonight, Andrea, with her characters from the series SAIGAMI. But we only ask $5, and you get 20 issues throughout a year. And of course, you start with the latest issue. So if you are so inspired to enjoy what we're doing, you can go on our website and get the first couple of chapters of any one of the series that you're really looking forward to reading. To find out more about how we do things, and then you can buy our back issues, in which case we have 12 back issues right now, and you can buy those either individually for $1.99 each, or in season bundles. And we have season 1 for $7.50. That's nearly 500 pages of content, and we have season 2 for about $5. And again, it's just really awesome creators, really awesome brand new original manga style series like Apple Black, Bully Eater, Comatose, Catharos, The Shattered World, TTX, which is coming in our next issue. I have a series coming out called Massively Multiplayer World of Ghosts. And, of course, The Falcon Lux Nova, which is one of our biggest, most fantastically popular new series. And then, of course, Saigami from Andrea. So please do support us. You can also support the creators directly by buying on the Gumroad.com store or on our actual website, either apparel or art prints that feature our artists. That is money that, aside from just the cost of producing the goods, goes directly to the creators. So please purchase those items and show your support and let people know that you support things like Saigami wearing a T-shirt or having friends. So that's kind of our little station identification. I'm going to get back to some questions for Andrea. Again, you can ask questions at any time simply go into the chat window. And if you're using the Google Hangout applications, you can also access it via the Q&A button. And feel free to ask her anything. So Andrea, let's start off just some more questions again about you and about the stuff that you're doing in terms of creating content. So I know that obviously Saigami is not a full-time job for you. So how do you make time to draw? Because you have a job that's not connected to comic books. So how do you make time?
Well, it's not easy. Um, I work in 24 hours shift,
Hmm.
so basically I have 3 days in a week where I can absolutely don't work on my pages. Maybe I can sketch at work, but not many. So most of the time I have around 3 or 4 days a week, so I can work on the manga. Well, I try to concentrate very hard on drawing and not just like around or hang out with my friends. So it's kind of hard, but I really enjoy drawing, so it's not that bad. I like it a lot. But sometimes I have to sacrifice other parts of my private life, so I can't just sit down and watch a movie without thinking that maybe I could draw in that time. So so it's not easy, but I think it's worth it.
Well, that is that I think that's a lesson for everybody who's watching this and wants to become a manga creator, wants to become a webcomic creator. Is that we often talk about this. I talk about this in our pilot manga group, for example, that we have like 130 some members of right now. But I talk about this a lot. That this is not a fan club. This is I think the stigma that webcomics have in general, I think, is that people don't view it seriously because there might be, and there's a lot of really talented people out there. Obviously we discovered you, and I think you would agree there are so many just like incredibly talented people out there around the world who are producing comics and putting them up on websites. Some of the other webcomic sites that are out there. But you can be finding a series that you really like, and then it just kind of disappears. You don't know if that person either had a lot of has like a real job and got too caught up in his real job, or fell in love, or or had an illness, and it's like you don't know. It just kind of stops, and so people I think view webcomics with suspicion. And like you said, it's something that you have to be committed to. You have to be willing to give up personal time to hone your craft. And I'm 40 years old, so I know that that's what you have to do. But I think a lot of people in this digital age, they don't see it that way. They're like, oh well, it's like, well, what's in it for me? And it's like, hard work. And if you're successful with the hard work, then maybe, money and a career and all the other things. But it's like, you've got to show people that you're serious first.
Yeah. And most of the time people just say, oh, it's just drawing, but it's really hard work. So
Yeah.
and you need to take it seriously, unless you can make that.
Good point. So, all right, so we've got some questions then. Rio Shahal asks, what do you consider is your biggest inspiration, uh, to draw manga? So we talked about this earlier at the start, but obviously Rio may have missed it. And I'm not sure I got exactly like what manga, influenced you, because obviously Hungary is different than other countries. I don't know what the manga scene was like for you growing up. So, what was the biggest inspiration to create manga? Was it anime? Was it manga? Was it a specific series?
Um, I guess I will say Naruto again because I watched many animes as a kid, but first of all, when I started to draw manga, it was because of Naruto. Before that, I always tried to write my own stories, but I always felt like something is lacking. And when I started to read Naruto, I figured that maybe I can draw the things that I couldn't write. So when I first started my Naruto ripoff manga, it was because of that. And
Mhm.
after that, I tried to take it seriously and started Saigami, which was inspired by my wishes, I guess, because I just wanted to uh, draw and write something that I would enjoy to read.
Well, that's cool. I mean, Naruto has influenced so many people, as has Dragon Ball Z. So, there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But Rio, Naruto is what this woman was inspired by. All right.
Yes, at first.
Yeah. So let's Michael Ibengbe. I'm not sure exactly how to say your last name, Michael, and I apologize. That tells you how much I suck at stuff like that. But Michael, who has been a great contributor on our pilot manga program as well as a fan of Saturday AM, he asks, "What do you think is better, creating your manga traditional or digital?" Now, again, you've answered this question already, but obviously, let's feel free to, if you don't mind answering it one more time for him.
Well, if it's the question which is better, then I will say that everyone needs to find which is fitting to him or her.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's more traditionally because I feel like I have a bigger scale I can work on, and it gives me more freedom. But for some people, it is digital, and of course, maybe working digitally, it's a bit easier, cheaper for sure, and
Mm-hmm.
if you work digitally, you can correct things easier, which is in the traditional way is really hard because when you just write out everything, it will be hard to correct. So, so it's not easy, but I think for me, traditional is better. But that's just me.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, and very well said as well. That it comes down to the individual creator, but as you had indicated at the start of this chat, traditional is a way that you work. I mean, literally from the start, because you do your storyboards, which is again something I think that a lot of the web comic or creators, ambitious amateur creators, should really listen to is the fact that when you do storyboards, it's a lot of work, but it really helps make you a better artist as well as help you craft a better story. Um, so continuing on from there, I want to shift gears just a bit and ask you now just about some general pop culture stuff, which is something we don't normally get a chance to do, but I want to do that now. Obviously, Comic Con is happening right now. Are you familiar with Comic Con?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so what have you heard? Have you heard any announcements? Like, what's been your favorite announcement that you've heard so far, or have you heard of any?
Well, my favorite is probably about the movie Mockingjay because I'm a really big Hunger Games fan. So, so
Ah,
that was what I checked out. But nothing else yet because I didn't really have time in the last couple of days. I was working on manga, but but I will surely check out the other news as well.
well, I mean, I can tell you one of the stories that popped up there, and that was the debut of Wonder Woman, who's going to be in the new Batman vs Superman movie. And they finally had her actual, costume and the actress playing her and everything. And I must say, I mean, it looked pretty good. I mean, I can't say I think that she's the best actress for it personally, but still, I think it certainly looks good. So when you get a chance, in fact, we have it on our Facebook fan page, so you should check it out and tell me what you think.
Yeah, I will for sure.
Okay. So we have another question from Rio Shalal, who asks, this is a great question too. He asks, do you think it's a big setback to be a mangaka outside of Japan?
Well, it certainly would be easier if we were living in Japan, where it's to become a mangaka. Well, not easier, but a more reachable dream
Mhm.
because manga is really popular there, and it's a real profession you can go for. Well, in other parts of the world, it's not that easy. For example, in my country, Hungary, creating comics is it's not a job for living. There are many people who are trying to create comics, but they sell out a few hundred copies maybe,
Mhm.
and nothing else. So it certainly is easier to aim for being a mangaka in Japan. But then again, I always say that Japan is just one country,
That's
and
right.
you have the rest of the world you can aim for. So, in today's age, where everything is digital and reachable through the internet, um, I would say that everyone should go for a big dream and not just think about Japan, because Japan might be the biggest country for manga, but the rest of the world is still bigger than Japan.
I could not agree with you more. I really couldn't. I think that is such a well said thing, and I would piggyback on that, frankly, and just say to Rio and to all of the people listening right now that one of the reasons I started myfootprint.com and then of course Saturday AM is specifically the comment that Rio just asked about is it difficult being a mangaka outside of Japan? I mean, from my perspective, and I'm a little older than Andrea, and I've got a background actually in the entertainment industry at a corporate level, so I've seen a lot of the stuff that goes on for these things that you guys consume, or I've been a part of making those decisions of things that you guys have bought. Um, I can tell you that literally. I mean, Rio. I mean, the answer is yes. It is very difficult. But look, it's difficult inside Japan. I mean, that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that manga, as Andrea listed, manga in Japan. If for those of you who are watching this, who are American, is very much like sports or even hip hop in America. It's something that is so pervasive that everybody is aware of it and everybody does it in some way, right? So in America, you might have someone who's a singer, or someone who wants to be a singer, or someone whose uncle thinks they're, or mother, or the family members think they're a really good singer, and they might, if they really take it far enough, they might actually, try to be on American Idol or something like that. Well, the same thing, and the same thing happens in basketball. If you're a rapper, if you want to be a music star, like a hip hop person, someone like that, these things are so pervasive that in Japan it's very similar. I mean, it's like, first of all, not everybody in Japan reads manga. First of all, let's be clear. I think people outside of Japan have a perception. That's an untrue perception. I've been to Japan. That's not true. On the other hand, it is the case, though, that it's so popular, liable to see someone who is a fan of manga. They certainly all know about manga. And so because of that, little Tetsuo draws really well, that becomes like one of those things in a family, much like, the girl in someone's family or guy who could sing really well, and they're like, oh man, I got this cousin or this nephew or this brother or a family member who's like really good at singing, they could be a singer one day. And the reality is that no, they can't. It's like they might be really good, in front of friends and family, but they're not good in terms of a stage, or they don't have stage presence. And the same thing in Japan for manga. So it is extremely difficult to be a mangaka in Japan, and more so if you are not Japanese and in Japan. And I had an issue with that because I felt that first of all, the Japanese, don't do things that have been proven to be very popular. In America, we make a lot of content that is popular around the world, and for a long time, our stuff was the most, and still is, frankly, the most popular stuff around the world. I mean, Marvel superheroes, and those movies are big just about in every country on the planet, but really only comic books are really big in America, And Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, these are all American productions that, or American-generated content that is huge around the world, and it's not the same case for other countries. And it just frustrated me because I was like, that's why I don't see black characters, for example, in manga. That's why I don't see Hungarian characters in manga, or see Southeast Asian characters, from like the country of India or the country of Korea in typical manga or anime, because it's like Andrea said, it's just one country, and they're really making content for themselves. They're not really making it for the world. It's just that the world has embraced it. So I think that time is changing. I think yes, it is difficult, but I think it's changing. I think creators like Andrea and creators like White Manga, who's from Nigeria, I think that they are helping, and that's what we're all about, of trying to show that manga is an art style. It is not. It does not matter where it comes from. It's an art style, and as long as you are committed, and as long as you're telling a great original story, you have a chance to be as successful as any creator in Japan. And if we do our job well, and you all continue to support us like you've been doing, then we will make that a reality. So yeah, I want to throw that out there. I didn't mean to get on one of my rants. We have another question for you. Michael again is asking. He says, Andrea, do you have any advice for other aspiring artists who are trying to make a comic/manga?
Um, well, the first is the cliche one that don't give up. Um, that's that's really cliche, but so true because drawing manga it's not easy, and it never will be easy
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes you struggle with your artwork, sometimes you struggle with the story, sometimes the receiving your manga is not as good as you would like. You know, it's hard to bear with hard criticism and stuff. So you need to brace yourself and just concentrate on doing your best and always aim for better, um, because that's how you will improve and and don't ever think that you can reach a level that is fine, because in the next day you will think that it's not enough, and that's the good thing, because if you always feel like you can be better, then you can always improve.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. So we have a couple of comments, a couple of final comments. We have about 10 minutes left. And at the very end of this video cast, I want you to stay tuned for very special information. I'm going to try to show an image as well. The first image that we're going to show from Saturday Wars, which is our upcoming big project we're going to talk about. So this will be the first official reveal of this image and of some of the details to be expected for Saturday Wars. So please stay tuned at the very end. But this is the time to go ahead and get your questions in. If you've got any remaining questions, I see we've got some questions that actually appeared in other places. So please get your questions in. This is the last 10 minutes, and then we're going to wrap it up. So before we do that, let me just go ahead and make a quick station identification break, as they say in radio. And again, you are listening to the Saturday Q&A. This is a live video chat with the one and only Andrea Voros, a very lovely creator from Hungary who has been very, very kind to give us some time this evening. Her series SAIGAMI is one of our most popular series at Saturday AM, and you may be asking, what is Saturday AM? Saturday AM is the brand and a publishing magazine or line that we have with my company, myfootprint.com. It is essentially a weekly Shonen Jump or weekly Shonen Sunday. It's a digital anthology. It comes out every 2 weeks. You can read it on your phone or some of your smartphones if you've got the right setup, your tablet, or your computer. It's a high-res DRM-free PDF file with interactive links, and it features some of the hottest creators literally around the world. And this is quantifiable, by the way. This is not just statements. Andrea, of course, who many of you know from previous works, as well as a really popular YouTube channel. We have, in her series SAIGAMI, we have one of our most popular manga, and one of the most popular manga in the world right now that comes from this strictly online, which is called Apple Black. It's by the creator known as White Manga, who's from Nigeria. We have Wally Wynn with his very excellent Comatose. Did you see the latest Comatose, by the way, Andrea, in this issue?
Yes.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. It was mind-blowing to see. Oh, it was really good.
Yeah, so I hope you guys are checking out Comatose. It is one of my favorite series. Wally is one of our most important creators, and it's a great series, and particularly for people who are really fascinated with the medium of comics, not just creating comics, but the actual medium and the things you can do with it artistically. Wally is really groundbreaking. We have Raymond Brown, who's got the series called Bully Eater, which is really fun. It's going to get really good coming up soon. We have the really popular Mythalica Lux Nova by Mikhail Dingle, which this issue has a 30-plus page chapter. Catharos, The Shattered World from Beverly Toole. Beverly is our first African-American female creator, which, like in America, probably around the world, but certainly in America, it's like a unicorn. You just don't see that frequently. And Beverly is amazing. She is really talented. She's got some of the most incredible artwork. It reminds me a lot of Joe Madureira or Roger Cruz. It's just slick, and she's really, really talented. And so check that out if you're a fan of things like Trigun. You really love that. And then we have two manga coming soon. We have TTX, which is will be debuting soon, named Vertical Fish. And then I myself and Desmond Thompson have a manga coming called Massively Multiplayer World of Ghosts. I think, in my own humble opinion, that it's going to be amazing, but that's just my opinion. But we have a really great line, and of course, you can receive every issue of it, 20 issues a year, for just $5. It's the best deal in comic books, bar none. Every issue you can get individually if you just want to test it out for $1.99. every series, certainly some of the original series that we had initially, Saturday AM or Saturday-AM.com. So please visit our website and check out some of the free content that we have. And then we also have a line called Afternoon WebX, which features free daily manga. Right now, it serializes every day, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at 1 p.m. Features some of the really cool and awesome stories like Spoon and Storybook, Wanted Dead or Dead, and Shapeshifters. Really awesome. Korea, and even Canada. Definitely check it out. You will not be disappointed. It's free, and it's really good stuff. The stories are fantastic in them. So that's everything with Saturday AM. Please also feel free to support our creators, not just by subscribing, but if you love what they're doing and you stand for what we are trying to do, or buy a print featuring some of the artwork of your favorite creators. And that helps the creators out, and it's something that we just think would be great. So thanks again for doing that. So the last couple of questions that we've got here. Drawcast. This is just a comment. She says, I'm a big fan of Andrea's previous mangas, and so far love Saigami. Keep up the awesome work, Andrea.
Thank you very much.
And then we have some other comments here. Someone named, sorry, my computer's taking a bit of time here. There we go. Like I said, get to. So Mr. Hostel wrote, he wrote, how did you get published inside of Saturday AM? So how did that process happen?
Well, I applied for Saturday
Could
AM.
you hear me?
Please?
Okay, your mic kind of dropped out there. Go ahead.
Yes. So when I first saw the first two issues of Saturday AM, I sent a message to Frederick with asking that if I could join and things like it. But if you would like to join or interested, then you should definitely check out the pilot group at Facebook.
Dre, I think your mic, yeah, you're kind of dropping in and out.
Could you please repeat? I can't hear you well.
Yeah, I said, I think how sometimes you and I chat in the past when we do our stuff via Google, and sometimes your connection kind of drops in and out.
Yeah, it must be my connection. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think your connection, because I can hear you, but it's like when you start talking, like it stops for a few seconds, and it's like just silence. It's like I see you talking, but it's just silence, and then it comes back. It's kind of got that weird robotic voice. So try to answer that question one more time.
Okay. So when I first read the first two issues of Saturday AM, I sent an email to Frederick asking if they would be interested in my manga Saigami. And if you would like to join, then you should apply for the Saturday AM pilot group.
So for everyone, I know her mic dropped out, but the story is, what she was saying was that we had asked early on, the first two issues had come out, and we had asked for more creators who were interested, and we were familiar with Andrea's work. Andrea was very to her. I mean, she reached out to us, and we reached back, and we absolutely advised her that we'd love to have her come aboard, and it's been fantastic. Andrea is not only one of the most talented creators that we have, and one of the most popular, but she's one of the easiest people that you'll ever meet, one of the nicest people. And so it's my dream and hope that as we continue to grow and we're able to do conventions, we do conventions now, but able to do big conventions like San Diego Comic-Con, we can fly Andrea down to meet her fans. I think you guys will be just extremely fortunate, because literally one of the nicest people that I've talked to. She's just extremely kind. So definitely, that's pretty much how it all happen. And then the last question we've got here, because we're going to try to moving along pretty quickly. We want to try to stay consistent with the timing that we have. The last, let me see here. I think it's going to be the last two questions that we have. Is okay, yeah, the last two questions. So this is the last two questions, everybody. One is from Real Shahal, and he's just asking a general question about Saturday AM. He's saying, is Saturday AM available to purchase with British currency? And Shalal, I'll need to check on that. I'll need to check on that. I do not know the exact answer. I know that we do have a lot of sales internationally. We've had quite a few people purchase us from the UK, so I would imagine that it is, because I've seen the symbol, the symbol for the British pound on some purchases that have been made for Saturday AM. So what I would suggest you do is check. Go onto our website and go to the subscribe section. It's www.saturday-am.com/subscribe/. Go there and try to purchase an issue. You don't have to go through everything, but you'll know once you put your information if it says it accepts it. But I'm pretty confident that we have sales with British currency, so that shouldn't be an issue. If for any reason, Rio, if you feel free to email and just say, this question is regarding currency, and in the subject line, and email that to info@saturday-am.com, and I'll respond to that. And the last question here is for Andrea. Andrea, this is from. Sorry, hold on a second. I just had it and I lost it. Let's see. Andrea, can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great. Okay, and so this last question here is from, and I have their name. I'm going to pull it back up here. Okay, it's from Shay DeSagre, I believe. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. And they say, last question: are there any particular themes that you are drawn to as a creator? And that's an excellent final question.
Oh, it's a good question. Well, I think that adventure theme is, of course, one I like. But other than that, I like conspiracy theories a lot. I like post-apocalyptic settings, and there are some other themes that I really like. For example, I'm really interested in mystical creatures like werewolves and dragons. Oh, there are many things. But these are the first things that come in mind. And of course, I like romance a lot. I'm a girl, so it's kind of natural.
Absolutely. So okay, well that's fantastic. I mean, that's interesting to hear. First of all, that you have that you like conspiracy as a subject.
Yes, it's one of my favorites, so I really like it.
Well, I'd love to see you do something like that someday. Something that's a little more, grounded and a little more conspiratorial, tension and thriller type stuff. That'd be pretty neat. So that's great. Okay, so everybody, again, I want to say, just give a special thanks to Andrea Voros, the Hungarian creator of SAIGAMI, our hit series here with Saturday AM. And I want to thank all of you guys. We had some great participation today. I know it was an earlier than normal presentation for the Saturday Q&A, and so those of you who came out to support it, thank you again for that. That's just very kind. And again, just to restate that our normal time for our Saturday Q&A. This is a normal series that we do every Saturday, and that occurs at usually 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Because our creators are all over the world, of course, though, we do reserve the right to change that time. And we always update the information regarding the Saturday Q&As on our Facebook fan page, usually that Wednesday or Thursday before the Saturday Q&A. So if you are not a member of our Facebook fan page, please join it. It is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM/. So just all one word. And you can join it, and of course in the events tab you will see all of the Q&As that we have forthcoming. I can tell you that the very next Q&A that we will do will be August 2nd, which is next Saturday, and that will feature the creative work of Vertical Fish, which is a pseudonym for a gentleman who is one of our newest creators. He's in medical school, so he doesn't want to use his real name. But TTX is his manga, which will debut after that. And I'm sorry, actually, that's not next week. That's August 9th. August 2nd will be Joey Ellis of Leaky Timbers, which is a really fantastic. If you like shows on Cartoon Network like Regular Show or Adventure Time, you will love Leaky Timbers. And it's all original, comes from the world of digital, so I can't recommend it highly enough. The guy's hilarious, so I really hope you guys will tune in for that. And then after that will be Vertical Fish with TTX, and then we've got it planned out several weeks after that as well, with people like Raymond Brown, Beverly Toole, Desmond Thompson, and myself for Master Multiplayer World of Ghosts, and so on. So definitely stay tuned, but check in with us via the Facebook fan page to get more information about the Q&A series. And again, thanks again very much to Andrea. Please check out SAIGAMI if you're not familiar with it. You can go onto our website, and under the Saturday AM data folder, you will find the SAIGAMI homepage. You can also find SAIGAMI free comics to read under the tab that says Read Manga. And last but not least, of course, you can simply subscribe for only $5, and that will guarantee that you get today's issue, which clocks in at over 100 pages, and to get the latest chapter of SAIGAMI. And then, of course, you will continue to receive every new installment of SAIGAMI from then on out. So thanks again for supporting us. Do check out our gumroad.com/Saturday AM page for brand new prints from Andrea that will be made available for people there. Likewise, you can go on to shop section of our homepage, saturday-am.com, and you will find some great T-shirts that feature the logo for SAIGAMI. So again, lots of cool stuff to do to support both us and Andrea. And now, here at the end, I want to just take a moment and talk about Saturday Wars. Saturday Wars, if those of you have been following it, is a series that will be. It's an original graphic novel that we will be releasing. You guys have been asking for a very long time now. We've been in business for. I've been doing the whole thing for over a year. It's almost a couple of years, and but Saturday AM itself has been running since November. We debuted it November 23rd, 2013, and it's been rapid growth. You guys have supported us. You've loved what we were doing. You've supported our creators, and as a result of that, the question that we get asked over and over again, aside from how awesome I am, and I am very awesome, thank you, is that's a question of about when we're ever going to do anything in print. And so the short answer is Saturday Wars is going to be a print-only product that we will produce, really for two reasons. One, because we think we owe that to you all as fans. Number two, because we want to show the world, particularly the American comic book store, the consumer who goes into that, we want them to see what we have said for some time, which is the entire reason for our existence, which is that there are web and digital comic creators from around the world who are producing content that is every bit as good and as artistic and creative as stuff that is being sold by the quote-unquote big publishers or real publishers like Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, and so on. I believe that. That's why I started this company. That's why I started this entire process. When you look at Andrea's work, it is every bit as good as some of the best mangaka creators in Japan when they were getting started out. And the difference is that they have staffs of people who draw up their backgrounds and help them design characters. And Andrea is doing everything for SAIGAMI on her own. The same thing goes for White Manga for Apple Black. The same thing goes for Wally Wynn of Comatose. If this were Japan, they would have assistants who were helping them draw their book. Not to say that Kishimoto or Rumiko Takahashi or any of these creators are not capable of drawing anything they want, but it's just a different world. It's a world that has a lot of opportunity for the professional manga creator. And when you look at some of their early work, you're like, wow, like that stuff looks, not as good as their latest work once they've been doing it for a while. And our creators are every bit as solid as some of the creators at the later stages of their career and some of the creators at the early stage of their career. So we believe that we deserve to sit on a retail storefront shelf right next to X-Men, right next to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right next to Lumberjanes, and right next to so many other series. We think we deserve to be there. And so Saturday Wars will be our attempt to do that. It will be a manga-sized book. It will be full color. It'll be 200 pages. It will feature every character from Saturday AM and Afternoon WebX, and it will feature original stories that tie into a very large plot that threatens the world of these characters. And that's really all I can say at this point. But I will leave you guys with this. I'm going to prepare to do a screen share. Because my technology is so incredibly booty, this very well may destroy the universe as we know it, because my computer just can't handle it. But regardless, I'm going to finish up this podcast with a screen share of a brand new piece of original artwork that will be joining the How We Do This. And by the way, one thing as well that I think needs to be said is that the way we will be constructing this will be via Kickstarter. We will be doing this as a Kickstarter. We'll be raising money via Kickstarter, and we have much bigger plans than what I've announced. So you'll be learning all of that when we officially unveil the Kickstarter later this week. And we do very much hope that you guys will support it, because it is an important book, not just for Saturday AM, not just for myfootprint.com, but for the entire webcomic industry. We think it is a very important book, and we've got some really big surprises planned for you guys. So we hope you'll support it, and you'll share the information about it for people that you think who may be interested in it as well. But I'm going to close with an original image done by White Manga that provides a bit more information, visually at least, of what we're trying to do with Saturday Wars. And again, my name is Frederick Jones. I'm the creator of myfootprint.com, and you've been viewing the Saturday Q&A. Today's special guest was Andrea Voros. And next week again will be Joey Ellis, the creator of Leaky Timbers. And so with all of that, we're going to screen share it and close out on that note. So thanks again for joining us, and bear with me for just a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. This is the image from the one and only White Manga. You can see that there is an evil in the universe, and it is after every character that represents the future of webcomics, Saturday AM, and Afternoon WebX. But more importantly, there'll be more information popping up on these shards that will really excite you guys. And so, on that note, again, Saturday Wars will be debuting officially via Kickstarter in another couple of days. We really hope you come out and support it. It's a really important initiative that we're doing. We believe it's something that will celebrate our fans, celebrate the webcomic community, celebrate the digital world that we live in today, and celebrate manga, all in one fell swoop. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. We'll see you next time. This is Frederick Jones, signing off.